The envelope slid across my polished oak desk like a venomous snake. My breath caught in my throat as I flipped it open, revealing glossy photos that captured Quinn and me in a moment of unguarded passion from our hidden getaway last month. The typed note attached was blunt and terrifying. $500,000 by Friday, or these go viral and your perfect life as the youngest partner at Harlan & Associates ends in flames, along with your family's reputation. I sank into my leather chair, the New York City skyline mocking me through the floor-to-ceiling windows. How had this happened? Quinn and I had been so careful for 2 years, stealing moments in her Brooklyn apartment or my upstate cabin, never public. As a rising star defense attorney, my image was everything: conservative clients, old money family from Boston who barely tolerated my single status. And now this. But the worst part? The woman who had just texted me asking if I was okay, the one whose voice alone could calm my storms, was Quinn herself, the love I had vowed to keep buried to protect us both. My phone buzzed again. "Babe, you free for lunch? Miss your face." I stared at the words until they blurred. If I told her, she would want to fight. If I didn't, I might lose everything I had built. The choice already felt like standing on a tightrope over a canyon. I locked the photos in my drawer, heart hammering, and forced myself into the conference room where partners waited for our weekly strategy meeting. The day dragged like sandpaper. Every email ping made me flinch. By 6 o'clock, I couldn't breathe in the office anymore. I slipped out the side exit, collar up against the November wind, and headed straight to Quinn's place without texting first. She opened the door in an oversized sweater, dark hair tousled, eyes lighting up the second she saw me. "Hey, stranger. Rough day." I stepped inside, closed the door, and handed her the envelope without a word. She read the note once, twice, then looked at the photos. Her jaw tightened the way it did when she was photographing a protest. Steady, furious, ready. "We're not paying a cent," she said quietly. "This is extortion. We call the police, we fight. Quinn, you don't understand. My firm will drop me. My parents will never speak to me again. The Boston Globe still runs pieces on my father's bank. One leaked kiss and the whole narrative becomes promising attorney hides lesbian affair." I paced her small living room, the city lights flickering through rain-streaked windows. I could lose the partnership track. The malpractice case I'm leading, clients will bolt. She set the photos down gently like they might burn her fingers. "And if we pay, they'll come back for more. Or leak anyway. Brielle, I love you. But I'm not watching you disappear into a closet to save a corner office." Her voice stayed calm, but her eyes held the storm I knew so well. We argued until midnight. I left with the envelope and a promise to think about it. On the subway home, I kept seeing the same image. Quinn's face when she said, "I love you," like it was the only fact that mattered. By the time I reached my empty apartment in Tribeca, I had decided to wire the money from a private account tomorrow. Silence felt safer. Survival felt smarter. The next morning, the blackmailer emailed a new photo. Us laughing outside a little Italian place in the village, hands almost touching. The message: "Clock's ticking. Don't test me." I stared at the screen until my eyes stung. Then I called Quinn. "We need to meet. Now." She was waiting at our usual bench in Central Park, coat collar turned up, 2 coffees in hand. The moment I sat down, she knew. "You're thinking about paying." I already started the transfer. Her coffee cup froze halfway to her mouth. "Brielle." Before she could finish, my phone rang. My father. I answered on speaker without thinking. His voice cracked through the cold air like a whip. "Brielle, and what the hell is this email I just got? Photos of you and some woman. Explain yourself before your mother sees." Quinn's hand found mine under the bench. I didn't pull away. For the first time, the secret felt heavier than the threat itself. I hung up on my father mid-sentence and turned to Quinn. Her eyes searched mine for the decision I hadn't made yet. "He knows," I whispered. Somehow the blackmailer sent him copies too. Quinn exhaled slowly, the steam from her coffee mixing with the park's frosty breath. Then the clock just sped up. "We can't hide anymore. Let me call my friend at the DA's office, anonymous tip line. We report the extortion without naming us yet." "No police," I snapped louder than I meant. A jogger glanced over. I lowered my voice. My firm has a morality clause. One whisper of investigation. And I'm suspended pending review. I've got a closing argument next week in the biggest case of my career. The client is a Fortune 500 company. They don't do scandals. Quinn set her cup down and took both my hands. Her palms were warm, steady. The same hands that had held me through every late-night panic attack after a tough trial. I get it. Your name is on billboards in 3 states. But Brielle, this isn't just about your job. It's about us. If we let fear run us, we lose anyway. We sat in silence while the park filled with morning commuters. I thought about the first night we met, 2 years ago at a quiet book launch in Soho. She was covering it for a photography magazine. I was there because the author was a client. Our eyes locked across the room and never really let go. Since then we had built something real in the shadows. Late-night talks, shared playlists, promises whispered against skin. Now the shadows were burning away. My phone buzzed again. My boss this time. Brielle, my office. 10 minutes. Quinn squeezed my fingers. Go. I'll start digging quietly. I still have press contacts. We'll find who sent this. I nodded, but inside I was already calculating how much of my savings the payoff would drain. At the firm I walked into a boardroom that felt like a courtroom. 3 partners sat stone-faced. My boss slid a printed screenshot across the table. The same photo my father had received. Care to explain? I lied smoothly. Years of courtroom training kicking in. Photoshop. Jealous ex-client trying to rattle me before the Henderson deposition. They didn't buy it. We're putting you on administrative leave until this clears. Take 2 weeks. Fix it. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks the blackmailer could destroy me. I left the building feeling untethered, the November wind cutting sharper than before. Quinn met me at a coffee shop around the corner, laptop open. I traced the email domain. Offshore, but the photos were taken with a specific lens, rare model. I know a guy who tracks that. For the first time hope flickered. But when I told her about the leave she didn't celebrate. They're testing you. If you pay now, they own you forever. We fight smarter. That night we stayed at her apartment. She cooked pasta while I stared at my phone, watching the wire transfer countdown. At 11 I canceled it. Quinn didn't say I told you so. She just pulled me into bed and held me until I stopped shaking. The next morning the second envelope arrived at my apartment door. More photos, plus a new demand. 1 million now. And a warning. Your parents just got the full file. Enjoy the family dinner. I called my mother. She answered crying. How could you lie to us for years? Your father is talking to the lawyers. Brielle, fix this before it ruins the family name. Quinn stood beside me, silent support. I hung up and looked at her. I think we need a plan B. She smiled, small and fierce. I already have one. Quinn's plan B started with a burner phone and a single text to the blackmailer. We know who you are. Back off or we go public first. She had used her journalism contacts to narrow the sender to a former opposing counsel I'd beaten in court last year, Marcus Hale. Disbarment threat, grudge the size of Manhattan. But Hale didn't back off. Instead he leaked the first photo to a tabloid blog at 7 a.m. By 9 a.m. my name trended on Twitter. Attorney outed was climbing. My phone became a non-stop nightmare, reporters, clients canceling, my sister leaving a voicemail that ended in tears. I holed up in Quinn's apartment watching the coverage on mute. The cheer in red. Rising legal star Brielle Thompson caught in secret same-sex affair. Family empire reacts. They had dug up everything. My father's bank board seat, my mother's charity galas, even my college roommate who swore I was just private. Quinn sat cross-legged on the couch, editing photos she had taken of Hale's office building. We file a civil suit for defamation and extortion today. My friend at the Post will run our side if we give her the exclusive. I shook my head. Going public means I lose the firm forever. They already sent the termination paperwork, pending investigation, but we both know how it ends. She set the laptop aside. Then what? Keep paying until he bleeds you dry and leaks anyway? Brielle, I'm not asking you to sacrifice your career for me. I'm asking you to stop sacrificing us for them. The argument escalated. I accused her of being reckless. She accused me of cowardice. We both cried. Then she said the sentence that stopped me cold. If you choose silence, I'll walk away. Not because I don't love you, because I refuse to watch you erase yourself. I stared at her, stunned. For the first time I saw the cost she had been paying all along, being the secret girlfriend, the one who waited, the one who never got to hold my hand in public. The realization hit harder than any tabloid headline. That afternoon we met at a small law office downtown. Quinn's friend, a sharp LGBTQ+ rights attorney named Lena. She laid out the options. Sue Hale for everything, demand injunction against further leaks, and prepare a statement. The court of public opinion is already in session, Lena said. You control the narrative or it controls you. I signed the papers with shaking hands. Quinn squeezed my shoulder the entire time. Outside on the sidewalk she kissed me. Right there in broad daylight, no more hiding. Cameras clicked somewhere. I didn't care. For 1 minute the world felt possible again. By evening the story had mutated. Conservative blogs called me a disgrace. Progressive outlets hailed me as brave. My mother left a single text. Come home. We need to talk. My father's silence was louder. Quinn cooked dinner while I stared at the statement we had drafted. I'm Brielle Thompson, and I'm not ashamed of who I love. Simple words. Terrifying to say out loud. She slid a plate in front of me. Whatever happens tomorrow, we face it together. I believed her. But when my phone rang at midnight, Hale himself, I realized the fight had only just begun. Hale's voice on the line was smug. You think a lawsuit stops me? I have more photos. I have videos. Drop the suit or your parents lose their board seats by morning. I hung up and woke Quinn. We spent the rest of the night building our case file. Timestamps, metadata, proof of extortion. Lena filed the emergency injunction at dawn. By noon a judge had temporarily blocked Hale from releasing anything else. The victory was short-lived. My firm issued a public statement distancing itself. We are conducting an internal review and do not condone personal conduct that reflects poorly on the firm. Clients fled. My corner office was boxed up by security when I arrived to clear my desk. Quinn waited outside with coffee and a fierce hug. They don't deserve you. We walked to the courthouse together for the first hearing. Cameras swarmed. Reporters shouted questions about my secret lesbian life. Quinn kept her arm around my waist the entire time. Protective, visible, unafraid. Inside the courtroom Hale's lawyer tried to paint me as unstable. Lena dismantled him with calm precision. Outside again, my mother appeared on the steps, elegant, furious, eyes red. Your father had a heart scare this morning. Because of this mess. Come home tonight. Alone. Quinn stepped forward. Ma'am, with respect, Brielle isn't alone anymore. My mother looked at her for the first time. Really looked. Something shifted in her expression, not acceptance, but recognition that the girl she had raised was gone. She left without another word. That night Quinn and I sat on her rooftop, city lights glittering below. I lost my job, I said quietly. The partnership I killed myself for gone. She rested her head on my shoulder. You gained your freedom. And me. Out loud. I laughed through tears. Freedom tasted like ash right now. But her hand in mine felt solid. The next week was a blur of depositions. Hale cracked under pressure. Turned out he had financial troubles and had hoped to force a quick payoff. His confession leaked anyway. Public opinion swung. From scandal to sympathy. Offers started coming in. Smaller firms, civil rights organizations, even a podcast network wanting the real story. Quinn photographed every step. Candid shots of me packing boxes, of us cooking together, of quiet moments that suddenly felt precious. For our archive, she said. Not for anyone else. My family remained radio silent except for one text from my sister. Mom cried all night. But she asked me to tell you she loves you. It's going to take time. Time. That was the one thing we suddenly had. The lawsuit settled faster than anyone expected. Hale agreed to destroy every copy, pay damages, and issue a public apology. The judge sealed the sensitive photos. On paper I had won. In reality the damage was done. My name still trended. Clients hesitated. I turned down 3 job offers because they wanted me to tone down the personal narrative. Quinn watched me wrestle with each decision, never pushing, always present. One evening she came home with a bottle of wine and a new camera lens. I got a contract. National Geographic wants a series on modern love stories. I pitched us. Anonymous if you want. I stared at her. You would do that? Put us out there. Only if you're ready. But Brielle, hiding almost cost us everything. I don't want to live half a life anymore. We talked until sunrise. For the first time I admitted the fear wasn't just about losing my career. It was about losing the version of myself my family had raised. Quinn listened without judgment. Then she said, "You don't have to choose between them and me, but you do have to choose yourself." The next day I accepted a position at a small boutique firm specializing in LGBTQ+ clients. Lower pay, smaller office, but no morality clause. Quinn celebrated by taking me to the same Italian place, where we had almost been photographed 2 years ago. This time we held hands across the table in full view. My mother finally called. "Your father saw the settlement on the news. He asked if you're okay." Her voice cracked. "I told him we raised you to be strong. I guess we didn't realize how strong." I invited them to dinner the following weekend, neutral ground, Quinn included. The tension was thick, but no one walked out. My father shook Quinn's hand. My mother hugged me longer than she had in years. Small steps. Still, nights were hard. I woke sometimes from dreams of flashing cameras and losing everything again. Quinn would pull me close and remind me we had survived the worst. Then came the final twist. A major network wanted to option our story for a limited series. Money, exposure, the chance to control the narrative completely. Quinn looked at me across the kitchen counter. "Your call. But whatever you decide, I'm here." I thought about the girl who had paid almost $1 million to stay hidden. I thought about the woman who had risked everything to stand beside me in the storm. I said yes. The contracts were signed in a sleek Manhattan conference room overlooking the Hudson. Quinn sat beside me. Our fingers laced openly on the table. The producer asked for one condition. "We want the real ending. How you two came out the other side." I smiled for the first time in weeks. The real ending is still being written. Filming started the following month. Quinn photographed behind-the-scenes shots while I gave interviews that felt like therapy. We moved into a bigger apartment together. First place that felt like ours, not borrowed time. My family attended the wrap party. My mother even posed for a photo with Quinn. Not perfect, but real. One crisp spring evening we stood on the Brooklyn Bridge, city lights reflecting on the water. Quinn turned to me, wind tugging at her dark hair. "Remember the day that envelope arrived? How could I forget? You chose us," she said softly, "even when it cost you everything you thought you needed." I pulled her close. "I chose me. And that meant choosing you out loud." We kissed right there, tourists smiling, no fear. The scandal that nearly broke us had rebuilt us stronger. Different careers, different expectations, but the same love that had refused to stay secret. Months later the series aired to record numbers. Messages poured in from young women across the country, saying our story gave them courage. I read every single one. Sitting on our couch with Quinn's head in my lap, I realized the price had been high. Lost partnership, strained family ties, months of panic, but the reward was a life without shadows. Still, the question lingers in quiet moments. Was fighting for our love worth every sacrifice? Or should I have paid the blackmail and kept the peace? True or false? In the end, protecting the woman you love always demands sacrificing everything else you once held dear?